over here we've had a rich history. 11 signers of the Declaration of Independence were Presbyterian, more than any other denomination. And one of the signers, the only clergy person, Reverend John Witherspoon. He was brought over from Scotland to be the third president of the College of New Jersey, which we call today Princeton. And in fact, there's a statue of him in the quad at Princeton University, and it has on that the base of the statue how many people that he taught theology and civics to, and polity. I mean, presidents, vice presidents, Supreme Court justices, governors, senators, representatives. In fact, when the British Parliament referred to John Witherspoon, or what was happening in the United States with the American Revolution, they would say, "Cousin America has run off with the Presbyterian parson." And they did not refer to it as the American Revolution, the War of Independence. They often referred to it in the minutes of Parliament as the Presbyterian Revolt. The U.S. Constitution is based on the Presbyterian Church Constitution because James Madison, the author of the Constitution of the United States and the first 10 amendments of the Constitution, which we call the Bill of Rights, he was Episcopalian. He's from the Commonwealth of Virginia. He should have gone to William and Mary, an Episcopal college, but he wanted to study under Reverend John Witherspoon. And so he went to Princeton. And so a lot of his theology, certainly his polity, was learned from John Witherspoon, and he incorporated it into the United States Constitution. One of the things that Reformed theology, Presbyterian theology says, is that power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so there has to be checks and balances, right? So there's the legislative branch, there's the executive branch, and then there's the judicial branch. And they check each other's power. So all of that is built in. The states each get 2 senators, no matter their size, and then they get all the representatives their size allows. We have advocated for free public education. In Scotland, in the 1600s, Scotland was about 70% literate in the 1600s. Scotland was the hotbed of the Enlightenment, by the way. I mean, people like, the Scots are Hume and Locke, Thomas Locke, political scientists. And then there's Adam Smith, the father of capitalism. And some of these people were all in Edinburgh at the same time, talking and having coffee with each other and tea and dinner. It's amazing. You know, the inventor of the light bulb, Watt, was educated in Scotland. Alexander Graham Bell, the telephone. Anesthesia, penicillin, the suspension bridge, Dunlop, the tire. All of these people were educated and in Scotland. Because the pastor, who was educated himself, was the teacher during the week oftentimes in the kirk. The kirk was open every day, and during the week it was a school. They were learning to read, they were teaching the kids how to read and write so they primarily could read Scripture and help interpret it. But so Scotland was 70% literate, when in England it was about maybe 20%. As well as across Europe. 3 of the best education, 4 of the best universities in the world at that time: Edinburgh, St. Andrews, Aberdeen, and Stirling. And we advocated for free public education in this country. Free for everyone. And I think that is being attacked pretty severely right now. Pretty severely. When my adopted sister, 14, I can't believe the cost that she has to pay to go to public school for renting or buying books and things like that. More colleges, universities, hospitals have been founded around the world by the Presbyterian Church than any other. If you ever hear about, now I don't know all of their condition, but anywhere you hear the American University of Tehran or Beirut or Cairo or whatever, those were started by Presbyterians. In this country, the University of Princeton, University of North Carolina, Indiana University, University of Texas. A lot of these universities were started by Presbyterians and then turned over to be public universities. In fact, Bloomington, Indiana, it was a state seminary, then it became state college. Before it became a university, the legislature said, you have got to put a Methodist on the faculty, because it was all Presbyterian, and the president of the college, it's the 8th largest university in the country now, was the pastor of First Presbyterian Church, Bloomington. Forefront of the abolition movement, women's suffrage, civil rights, rights of LGBTQ, earth care, we've been on the forefront of all of those in our history. We have a number of famous Presbyterians or Reformed Christians, and in fact, we have more presidents than any other denomination. We used to be equal with the Episcopalians until the most recent election. And President Trump claims to be Presbyterian, and he was baptized and he was confirmed in one of our churches in Queens. Thank you. So, Andrew Jackson. Can you name some a Presbyterian president besides Donald Trump? He's no longer a member of a PCUSA church. He's a Reformed church, I think Marble, he claims. I
thought Lincoln, didn't he?
Ah, good, yeah. But my wife would take umbrage with that, and she does every time I claim him. He attended regularly New York Avenue Presbyterian Church, and that's where his funeral was, and was performed by the pastor there, but he actually was a member of the Disciples of Christ Christian Church. Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln, yep. He never did switch his membership. But we claim him. I'm fine with that. I'll go with you. We're good. Who else? Eisenhower. Dwight D. Eisenhower. He grew up, believe it or not, Jehovah's Witness. But Mamie converted him. And he was a ruling elder. I'm going to go Martin Van Buren. By the way, here's a good trivia question. Who is the only president whose first language was not English? Martin Van Buren. It was Dutch, and he's just up the Hudson River from us. James Buchanan, the only single president. Abraham Lincoln, see, I put him on there. Grover Cleveland, and see both parties here. He's a PK. You know what a PK is? Preacher's kid, yep. He was born in a manse. Benjamin Harrison. Theodore Roosevelt was a Presbyterian out in Long Island. His cousin, or I think cousin something once removed, was not. He was Episcopalian, FDR. Woodrow Wilson. He was born in the manse in Staunton, Virginia. Dwight Eisenhower. Ronald Reagan was a Presbyterian. And then Donald Trump, who I do not have a picture of, but we see him a lot.